So it's been 10 years since this MacBook Air came out, and when it was released, it was $1,500. Now you can find them at 1/10 of the price, and this got me thinking, is the 2013 MacBook Air obsolete or is it still usable? When this laptop was initially released, it was declared one of the best thin and light laptops you could get. This MacBook Air came out 5 years after the original MacBook Air, and from that time, it has improved significantly compared to the 2008 model. When Steve Jobs released the first MacBook Air in 2008, he wanted it to be thin and light like the netbooks at the time, but wanted the performance and the bigger screen and bigger keyboard that you would see in a normal sized laptop. This seemed like a good idea at the time, but the problem was it was so thin that they had to compromise on the cooling system, and putting a full-size Core 2 Duo in it, alongside with a very small cooling system, was bound to make the computer overheat. It would end up overheating so much that it would actually shut one of its cores down to keep the laptop cooler. However, Apple did learn from their mistakes and they redesigned the MacBook Air in 2010. This revision made it a much more compelling laptop. As the newer MacBooks came out with the 2011, 2012, and 2013, they didn't have nearly as many problems as the 2008 and 2009 ones. Exactly 10 years ago, the 2013 MacBook Air was announced. So this begs the question, is the 2013 MacBook Air still a good buy in 2023? The MacBook that I'm using in this video is a 2013 MacBook Air with a Core i5 processor, 8GB of RAM, and a 512GB SSD. The 8GB of RAM is not common because 8GB was only made standard in 2016, so most models you'll find on eBay will have like 4GB of RAM. As far as performance goes though, when opening large app, it does take a significant amount of time to load. Once they're open though, it's honestly not bad to use. As long as you're opening like web browsers, documents, stuff like that. Don't go like expecting that you can open like Final Cut and get 4K video done on this. That's just not going to happen. You'll probably blow up the computer if you did. If we were to compare this to another computer, I would honestly say it's comparable to like a basic Chromebook, brand new, or like a used Windows laptop, but I'm going to be focusing on the Chromebook for this video. As with a Chromebook, you can't open like large apps. It's mostly web-based, and if you're doing stuff like you would do on a Chromebook, it's completely fine. But one advantage that this does have over the Chromebook is if you needed to get a larger app opened, you're able to do that since you're running Mac OS and not Chrome OS. However, you might notice that this MacBook is not supported by Mac OS anymore. So if you are just running the stock version of Mac OS, you might have some apps that aren't compatible with it because the version's too old. But alternatively, you can always install a patched version of Mac OS, get the latest one, and have no problems with app compatibility at all. If you do upgrade to a patched version of the current Mac OS, it's going to be a little bit slower just because it has more stuff to load and there's more features in the new Mac OS. It's not terribly slower, but just note it is kind of slow. As far as the display goes, it doesn't look good, but it gets the job done. Comparing this to a Chromebook in a similar price range, it's probably about the same, maybe a little bit better. The viewing angles aren't that good on it. It does have a slight bluing effect, but for $150, you can't really complain. When it comes to battery life, it really depends on which one you buy. Since it is 10 years old, it's somewhat common to get brand new batteries in it, but it's also possible to get batteries that can't even last 20 minutes because they say service recommended. If you're looking to buy one of these, I would message the eBay seller if he doesn't have the battery info listed in the listing. I would definitely try to get one that has under 500 battery cycles, or even better, a new battery, because if you go over that, while it might be significantly cheaper as far as the listing price, it's not going to last that long. If you do decide to buy a MacBook Air with a service recommended battery, which basically means the battery is bad, it's not that hard to replace them. You could buy a $30 battery from eBay as well, and you can replace that within 10 minutes, and then you have a brand new battery in your MacBook Air, which is going to significantly make the battery life better, and you would most likely save some money in the process since you're doing the repair yourself and you're not getting one that has already been repaired. Another advantage for this MacBook compared to other $150 laptops is definitely the build quality. The whole laptop is made out of aluminum, which you would never see on a Chromebook or a Windows laptop around the same price. So my take on this is if you want a laptop for just web browsing or documentation, stuff like that, this is going to be a better choice than a $150 Chromebook, but in no way is this going to replace someone's main laptop that is using it for like multitasking, stuff like that, because it does slow down significantly when you throw more stuff at it. For the average to below average MacBook user, I think this is a great fit. You get full access to macOS, the latest macOS version as of right now with Open Core Patcher, so you won't have any incompatibility with apps like you might on a Chromebook, since Chromebooks are only web-based, at least most of the time only web-based. So overall, I'd say if you need a laptop for simple tasks, this would be a great laptop for you. I hope you enjoyed my take on the 2013 MacBook Air. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you want to see more content from me, consider subscribing. Thank you for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.